Over the years, Glaff's school had several alien students transfer in, though a couple of them only stayed temporarily. Most were children of business owners, though some had parents in politics, their species recently having joined the giant assembly that was the Galactic Union. Some of them were pretty awesome. The reptilians were cool because they were similar to Larkanids, though their bumpy skin was much tougher. They had no tails, and they were a darker green. They also had a Nilitonian student, a year younger than Glaff, who had appendages that were tentacles. This time, the school was getting a human. She was going to be in Glaff's grade, and the equivalent was apparently 30 nerve cycles. It was only a few weeks into the school year, so it wouldn't be that hard for her to catch up, but she guessed the girl was still irritated. Word was that they planned for her to start on day 1, but some paperwork had gone wrong. From stories told among friends as well as news reporters, humans were average in most ways, but one remarkable similarity was that they kept pets. After a diplomatic meeting that had gone splendidly, when humans had been delighted to meet Larkin's pet Tshirt, the two species bonded quickly over their love of domesticated animals. Novelty definitely had its place when it came to new species, and Glaff knew her species were having as much fun visiting human pet stores as the humans did visiting theirs. The part that struck Glaff, though, was human loyalty. On the evening news, which her father always watched, there had been several stories of it. There was one about a human who had repeatedly struck a Zalkinian when it tried to injure their dog, which was staggering because it no doubt hurt the human's appendage more than it had hurt the Zalk's carapace. But humans who bonded closely with their pets was just the start. One story that has circulated at school, from the child of some industry professional, was that they made friends with a Siliconian colleague. Shortly after, a Norgalian had attempted to manipulate the Siliconian and twist around a business agreement, and the human being was furious. They hadn't hesitated before calling him out on it, and repercussions had been severe, whatever that meant in business terms. Glaff wasn't sure, but it sounded great. Glaff was desperately hoping she would make friends with the human, because she could really use someone strong and loyal like that as a new friend. Someone who would stand by her side and defend her, despite the prison sentence that had changed her life. The morning announcements over the speaker system didn't do anything so embarrassing as broadcast a welcome to the new student. The teachers just mentioned it the day before. Glaff kept an eye out for the human in the hallways and caught a glimpse of her once. She had short black hair on her head, and wore clothes on the top of her body, as well as covering her legs. When lunchtime arrived, Glaff hoped she would be able to find the girl and sit next to her. She hurried to the cafeteria and got in line, collecting her selections for the meal, and then scanning the room. Then all the hope drained out of her, like a plug had been pulled. The human was already sitting with other students, looking happy. And one of the students was Parg. Most of the students weren't fond of Glaff anymore, but Parg was one girl who didn't hesitate to make it known. They must have had a class together and met there. Defeated, Glaff walked over to her normal seat, with a few other students who didn't mind her eating with them. She mused on what the human was eating, unable to catch a glimpse from where she was seated. It was always something that was safe for everyone to consume. Adults knew better than to tempt students with options that the kids called adventurous, but the school nurse called a terrifying health hazard. A blanket of gloom hung around Glaff's shoulders for the rest of the day, as she mentally scolded herself for putting so much hope into something unlikely. After the school day had ended, she bought a drink and a snack, and sat on the expensive front steps of the building. Now that this option was off the table, she wasn't sure what was left. When she started her new school year, she'd hoped that the time off had settled people's anger, that things would be different. But Glaff's mother had been right. Kids her age had long memories. Time was the only thing that would change things. Glaff was severely startled and nearly fell off the steps she was sitting on when her drink was kicked out of her hand, tumbling down the stairs. Her eyes contracted into tight vertical slits as she looked up at Parg. The human and two other girls were standing not far away. "Why are you still here?" Parg snapped. "What the hell?" the human exclaimed. Parg looked over to her. "Have you been told about Glaff yet, Leanne? About what happened last year?" "What happened?" the human asked warily. Parg's lip curled at Glaff, revealing fangs. "Our school was struggling with funding for cycles. It was all over the news. We couldn't fix things. Lunch food quality kept getting lower. You know where all the money was going?" She leaned down to glare at Glaff, who averted her gaze. "Into her daddy's pockets." "What?" Leanne asked loudly. Glaff curled her arms around herself and stared at the ground shamefully. "A family of thieves, and they still have the nerve to show their faces. Look it up when you get home. The amount he got away with stealing over such a long time was ridiculous," Parg growled. "Millions of credits. They said he almost got away with it, but he was just too greedy. And Glaff was always coming to school with the best food, wearing new clothes, using the newest communicator. Her dad's in prison now, finally. They tried to get her mum arrested too, but she covered her tracks too well." Glaff didn't dare look up to meet Leanne's gaze. She'd had enough disgust and anger from her own species, and there was no way she'd tell them her mother hadn't known about it. They wouldn't believe her anyway. "Wait, so her dad was stealing and he went to prison?" Leanne said slowly. Footsteps sounded as Parg walked back over. He'll be there for 5 years, and hopefully that's long enough for him to realize what a selfish shithead he is." "You blame Glaff?" the human asked, sounding confused. "She's just our age, and she didn't do anything." Glaff looked up in pure surprise. "Are you kidding?" Parg exclaimed. "She was living a fantastic, spoiled life for years while the school was trying to figure out how to pay our teachers." Leanne shifted her weight from one foot to another, folding her arms. "But her dad's the asshole, not her. It's not like she was some super genius hacking the bank accounts and cackling about how much better she had it than everyone else." Parg flicked her tail. "You don't get it. Everyone at school still hates her. After what she did, she shouldn't even be here anymore." Looking back and forth from Glaff to Parg, Leanne's mouth opened and shut a few times, before she spoke. "Everyone hates her? That just sounds like they want someone around they can blame. I mean, you're right, I don't get it. What did she do?" Glaff remained silent, baffled, trying to figure out what was going on. And Parg's body language wasn't much different. "You're my friend, why are you arguing with me?" Leanne stared at her. "What?" "I was so happy that I got to be your friend," Parg told her. "Humans are the best, but you're not standing by me. Everyone talks about how humans are incredibly loyal to their friends. Why are you doing this?" At that, Leanne seemed to be struck dumb, Gao saw. Her arms fell slack to her sides and her mouth gaped. It took her a moment to speak. "I'm sorry, do you think I'm a dog?" "What?" Parg asked, nonplussed. "Humans are loyal? Yeah, when it's justified," Leanne snapped. "And I'm not your friend. I just met you today. We were getting along great until you started acting so horrible. And what exactly is that supposed to mean, humans are loyal?" she continued, taking a few steps forward and prompting the Larkinid to back up. "You think we're ducklings? We open our eyes and we're so goddamn stupid that we think the first thing we see is our mother, even if it's something 1,000 times its size that's about to eat them? Is that why you were so friendly in homeroom? You thought we'd talk about all the stuff we have in common and have fun at lunch, and that'd make us friends like flipping a switch? You lock me in and I'll stand by you, I'm with you forever, ride or die?" Park's tail twitched anxiously. I didn't. I mean, you did," Leanne laughed. "Oh my god, you actually thought that? How stupid are you?" At that, Park's skin around her neck darkened. "You're the stupid one if you want to be friends with Glaff." "I don't even know Glaff," the human shouted. "All I know is that I don't want to be friends with you." Parg abruptly stilled, and silence hung oppressively in the air. Glaff glanced around and noticed a couple of students staring. Fine, Park finally managed. I've already got friends anyway. At that, she stomped away, the two girls who had come with them hurrying after her. What the hell? Leanne muttered, shaking her head and staring after them. After a moment, she looked down to Glaff, who was staring with wide eyes. They were quiet for a moment before the human spoke. Hi, she said. Hi, Glaff said quietly. Your dad's in prison? She asked. Glaff nodded sadly. That sucks. Leanne paused. Want to go get Cricky with me? The place around the corner? She said, motioning. I tried it once and now I'm addicted. Yeah, sure. Still dazed, Glaff picked up her bag and tucked away the rest of her snack, walking down the staircase with the human, noticing that Leanne seemed lost in thought. They walked without speaking until they got to the Cricky shop, and then, waiting in line, Glaff asked how the human's classes were on her first day.